Hello, I hope I am streaming because this is my first time doing it. Welcome to my first YouTube live stream. I've gone live on Facebook, of course, a million times, but this is my first time on YouTube. So it is 12:30. It is Thursday, February 17th, and I have no idea if this is working. So I'm going to check on my channel real quick to see if it is, and it looks like it is. And I have no idea. All right, there we go. So thank you for joining in, and tell me where you're from. I know there's a little chat function in this. This is really just me trying this out to see if it works, see if I like it, and hopefully you like it too. But we've got a big severe weather threat today across the South. In fact, things are already happening. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into what's going on. But tell me where you're watching from, who you are. Feel free to say hi. Hi, Alec. How are you? There we go. We got our first person, our first viewer. And let's see. So here's the big picture. And, well, actually, let me switch us over to the big picture. Okay, there we go. And hopefully you can see everything just fine. I'm still getting used to this streaming software. We have a tornado watch until 6 o'clock, and this goes from Memphis all the way down into portions of Louisiana, Mississippi. We've already got a tornado warning, and we also have a lot of snow on the back end of the system. And Kansas City has already seen 7 inches at the airport. So there's been some really heavy snowfall there. Now, I do want to focus on that severe weather threat. And what I'm going to do is turn off a few things here. Let's see. And this is the first time I've used this product. It's Radar Omega. So bear with me as I get a little used to this. But there's my weather alert settings. And I want to turn off that tornado watch, and I'm trying to figure out how to do it. So it's not weather alert settings. Maybe it is. We'll see. So watches, there we go. I'm turning that off for now. And what we're going to do is look into what's happening a little further south. So this is around Jackson, Mississippi. There's that storm above Yazoo City that we've been watching for, and I'm going to turn this off of winter weather, and we're going to take a closer look here at what's happening with our reflectivity. And this is producing some spin with it. If I was in Lexington, I would be very concerned right now. Let's get the details on this warning right here. So it's radar indicated, north central Yazoo and southeastern Humphreys counties there in Mississippi, and this is capable of producing a tornado, and it's moving fairly quickly, 55 miles an hour to the northeast, and it's radar indicated rotation. So that means that it hasn't been spotted necessarily, but it is something to watch for. So let's take a look at rotation here. And once again, this is a new radar product for me, so I am getting used to it. I think I need to switch over possibly into different, there we go, single site radar to get a better view of what's going on. And let's take a look at the radar right here. So we're going to look at this radar right here because it looks like it's the closest. And there we go. That looks a lot better. There's that high-res reflectivity I'm looking for. Let's take a look at the velocity. So this is actually fairly broad, just north of Yazoo City. If you're in the city of Eden right now, that is certainly going to be producing some really rockin' winds for you folks. I'm going to circle where that turn in the atmosphere is. And basically, when you see these two colors matching up, that green and that yellow or red, what that is wind going away from the radar and coming to. And when they're kind of close together like that, it means that there is rotation. Now, this does look somewhat broad. However, it doesn't mean that it's not capable of producing a tornado right now, or at the very least, some very gusty winds. And I can see here just kind of southeast of Silver City. It looks like some of that area there around Carter, that's trying to turn as well. So I would say Eden, probably really gusty, damaging winds, but maybe even some more rotation around the Carter area. So that is the tornado warning that you have to watch for right now. That's what's on the map. And let's see if we can get some more information. So this expires in 41 minutes. So we've got some time to watch this. Now there is a severe thunderstorm right there to the south, and this includes Vicksburg, but I will say that there is an area where we're looking at potentially a little bit of rotation. Just kind of keeping an eye on that. So let's take a closer look at this. So this is for northeastern Tensas Parish, and that's in Louisiana. And this extends all the way into Claiborne, southwestern Yazoo counties, and Mississippi. So this is moving northeast at 50 miles per hour, and they're saying, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. However, I am a little concerned right here about this area just north of Vicksburg. It looks like it's trying to spin a bit. It's not really well defined, but we're going to keep an eye on that. And these are moving northeast at a pretty fast clip overall. So that's what we're watching for with these severe storms in Mississippi and in Louisiana. Now we're going to go ahead and take a closer look at the big picture again. So I'm taking this off of the single site radar, and we're going to take a look at the big picture because this is a massive system. And I have this in winter weather mode so you can see what's going on a little further to the north. You got a lot of action happening around Kansas City. Now, some of that heavier snow is trying to move out, but what we are seeing with this is just round after round of really heavy snow having moved through, and it's got a lot of oomph with it. We've had some thunder snow this morning in Kansas City, along with those really heavy snow showers. So 7 inches at the airport, that's a lot. That's more than they've seen in years. So that's been a pretty big snowstorm for those folks. And you can see from Arkansas City up into Eureka, just around Topeka, it's starting to come to an end, but you still have that heavy snow band. And this is moving into Chicago now, Peoria, Bloomington. And you can see that purple there, sleet, maybe some freezing rain around St. Louis. And then you head down into the south, Kentucky, Lexington, all the way down into Tennessee, where we're seeing these thunderstorms. And then right now that severe weather mainly seems to be an issue along Mississippi, going from Louisiana into Mississippi. So that's where we're going to be watching and keeping a close eye on things. I am going to go ahead and take one more look at that tornado warning that we've been tracking, just to kind of give you a better idea. And it looks like that radar is right there in Jackson. So that's a pretty good view. Once again, this is the first time I've used this radar product, so I'm getting used to it. But it is pretty interesting. I like it. Yazoo City. So it looks like Eden's still getting some really heavy wind. This is still fairly broad, but something you should still be concerned with. Looks like it's still just radar indicated, but you need to be in your safe spot right now. Even if it's just really gusty winds, that can be a big issue. Severe thunderstorm winds can knock trees down on your house. And I've been a meteorologist for many years. I've worked in broadcast for 10, and I can't tell you how many people, unfortunately, have been killed by just plain old severe thunderstorms. A heavy gust of wind could knock down a tree on your house, and that's why it's important to stay aware of what's happening and why you need to be inside in a safe place when there's really active weather outside your door. So keep that in mind, and I'm going to go ahead and check on this live stream, see how it's going, because I'm still getting used to this, and just want to make sure that I am keeping an eye on things. All right, so Alec is watching from Michigan. Thanks. And so yeah, that's what we're doing. And basically, this is just one of those days where the severe weather threat has been what I like to call conditional, or I should say the tornado threat has been conditional, because it is one of those days where we have a lot of upper level dynamics. The winds to the north, above your head, I should say, really rocking. We have really gusty winds at the surface coming in from the south, really pumping in that moisture. However, temperatures and dew points, they're looking pretty good in Mississippi, but we have a lot of convection, and what you want to look for is any clearing in between things. That's going to play a role in, whether or not we get any tornadoes today, or if it's just going to be more of a straight line wind threat. That being said, when you see the radar looking like this, when you get these striations, these little lines, a lot of times that's indicating really, really rocking, gusty winds at the surface, and certainly a severe weather threat. So let's take a look right now at what's going on. There's my live stream, so it is working. What we're taking a look right now is basically, this is from College of DuPage, which I like to take a look at because it's a free resource. And, I want to show you these, temperatures into, Alabama, into Mississippi right now. We got temperatures well into the 60s. You've got pretty high dew points in a lot of these spots. So basically what's happening is you got a pretty juicy atmosphere in these areas. And this is the wrong one. There we go. This is what we're looking for. So I was about to say, I was like, that doesn't look right. We're going to zoom in. There we go. That's what I was trying to show you. So what we're seeing right now is just really warm temps in Alabama and Mississippi. Notice you got 70s all the way up into northern Mississippi, even around the Memphis area. We're in the mid 60s. Dew points are in the 60s. So 70s, that is juicy atmosphere for some severe weather. Now, you go a little further north into Middle Tennessee. I live right here in Nashville. Our dew points are still in the 50s. Our temperatures are fairly warm. You know, you can see a 68 there just southeast of Nashville. We're 60 right now in Nashville. So that's some pretty warm air, but the dew points aren't there as much. Notice that wind is out of the south. There's that cold front. You can see it right there. I'm going to go ahead and draw that for you. You can see where that cold front has already moved through for some folks. I'm going to put this as a blue so you can see it. But where you see that wind shift there to the northwest, that's the cold front that's already pushed through. But it's kind of just a bunch of different factors coming together. So when it comes to instability, dew points, you want to look for temperature dew points above 60. You want 60s, 70s. That's going to be providing enough energy for any storms that develop to really produce severe weather. So, you know, we've had some messy convection, especially in Tennessee. I still think that severe weather threat is mainly, I would say, from southern Middle Tennessee over into portions of Mississippi and Alabama. That's just my thoughts, and that's been my thoughts the entire time. The other thing to look at is our satellite. Let's see how much clearing we have. A little bit. There's some pockets of sunshine in the southeastern U.S. That is going to potentially produce some instability. However, Tennessee, we are pretty darn cloudy, and I'm looking out my window right now. That's you know, going to limit that potential for tornadoes. It's not going to limit the potential for winds, and let's talk about why. So this is HRRR. Let me make sure I am on the latest run here. So it is, let's see what time it is. 12:42. So let's move this forward to 1 o'clock and compare it to what's happening on radar right now. And that's a good way to determine how accurate the model is. And it's looking pretty decent, in my opinion. It's showing those storms, you know, maybe a few lagging behind there. Maybe it's a touch slower, but I think it looks pretty good. And looks like these storms are going to continue in a pretty powerful line. The thing is, if we get any storms that kind of break free, they could really tap into some of that thermodynamic energy in Mississippi and Alabama and possibly produce tornadoes. Now, you can have tornadoes up into Tennessee as well, but I think it's mainly going to be more of a wind threat because you don't have as much thermodynamic energy. We're not seeing as impressive of Cape values up into Middle Tennessee, up into Kentucky. However, we're still under that risk. We're still under that weather avocado, which, speaking of, let's take a look at SPC and take a look at where that convective outlook is. So you can see that enhanced risk is in the area that we've been showing you here. Alabama, Mississippi primarily. It touches portions of Louisiana and Arkansas, but it includes Middle Tennessee, and the slight risk extends all the way up into Kentucky. And any areas in this marginal risk here, you certainly could see a couple of thunderstorms that reach those severe limits, but the yellow and the orange there, especially the enhanced risk here in orange, that's where you need to be really concerned. Now, they did manage to move that hatched 10% risk. That's a probability of an EF2 to EF5 within 25 miles of the point. That has been moved further south and west compared to yesterday, and I agree with that a little bit more. However, that 5% still extends up in Middle Tennessee and Kentucky. And then, you know, even some areas might still see a little bit of spin in the atmosphere. If you're in this hatched area, anywhere from Memphis down into a big chunk of Mississippi and a little portion of Alabama, you need to be very concerned. And then gusty winds, damaging straight line winds. I think that's going to be the main threat with that. We always call it the weather avocado, and when you see it, not necessarily a good thing to see. It means, you know, you're probably going to get some rockin' storms. So these storms are moving through areas like Nashville, also moving, you know, into portions of Alabama around 4 or 5 o'clock. You know, I'd say for the Nashville metro here where I'm at, this is happening really around basically into that rush hour. Same thing for Bowling Green up there in Kentucky. And then this continues to move out. By about 7 o'clock, it's starting to become less of an issue. You can see it's really stretching out, becoming linear as it moves through Birmingham and continues on into the Atlanta area, across Alabama and Georgia into the overnight hours. So that's what we're looking at with the severe weather threat. I do want to show you very quickly. Let me see if I can find. Here we go. Let's take a look at what the thermodynamics of the atmosphere are going to look like in the next few hours. So CAPE is usually a good indicator of just how much instability you have. But when I say thermodynamics, basically when you have a tornado, you usually need some shear and you need some CAPE. You need some convective available potential energy, and that's just allowing those storms to really tap into that energy and get going. And shear really helps aid in the spin of the atmosphere. Now, CAPE values are looking much higher in Mississippi than they are Alabama, and they really haven't been that impressive in Tennessee. So that's why this whole time, and honestly, that's why that hatched area that I showed you not too long ago is kind of in this neck of the woods. This is where that threat is the greatest. I'm going to change that from blue because it blends in. There's a yellow. So, this area right here, especially down into Mississippi, you just have the better thermodynamics, and that's why we've already seen storms breaking out. That's why we've already had a tornado warning. You just have the better atmospheric factors. Now, if this was a warmer time of year, if this wasn't February, I'd be really concerned up here into Tennessee, and I am still very concerned because we're seeing, a heck of a lot of shear, and we're seeing, that potential for really gusty winds. It's just worse to the south. And here's the significant tornado parameter, and it really has increased over Mississippi, looking more impressive. So we're going to be watching that through about 4 or 5 o'clock. Now let's take a look at what's happening on radar, because I haven't checked back for that in a second. There's that tornado warning still going. So we're still in high resolution reflectivity. This is northeast now of Yazoo City. This is Lexington. If I was in this area, Chula, I would be in my safe spot. Let's take a look at our high resolution velocity. Let me get a closer look too on radar scope. I like to look at different things, and it really does look a little bit broader. Let's see how long this is. This expires in about half an hour. So you're going to be with this through about 1:15 or so, maybe a little less. This rotation, it's there. It's not super duper impressive, but it is there. So if you're in Lexington, please make sure that you are in your safe space. Still radar indicated there. Chula there. I hope I'm saying that right. That's what it looks like to me, is Chula. And I love seeing different names too. It's pretty cool. And then you still got those severe thunderstorms just to the west of Jackson. Let's put that on reflectivity. And there's a lot of clouds. There are some areas that are probably getting some peaks of sunshine. So I'm not going to rule out a few more warnings throughout the day. Let's take a look here at a different radar. So another thing too is there are some things that we call radar holes. There might not be a great radar close to a thunderstorm. And so you just kind of got to get a closer look from different radars. All right, so that one's not much better than the one we had in Jackson. I think Jackson's going to be the appropriate radar to take a look at this spin right here. So yeah, Chula, Lexington, be in your safe spots right now. This is traveling along, looks like 49 east there. And this is west of 55. So, if I was in Baden, if I was in North Carrollton, these are moving to the northeast fairly quickly. I think it was 55 miles an hour. Make sure you're keeping an eye on this. If it keeps spinning, you're probably going to have to head to your safe space. Let's get back to the system and how it evolves through the rest of the day. So let's take a look at maybe north central. I'm trying to think about the best way to look at the precipitation we're seeing, and that's not it. That is not the best. Let's see. I always try to find the best There we go. P-type. There we go. Much better. So, you know, in Kansas City, we've had 7 inches of snow, but you notice, oh, there's got to be a better view than this. Maybe South Central? Nope, that's definitely not it. Ohio Valley. There we go. All right. So we've had 7 inches of snow in Kansas City. That's a lot of snow, y'all. And there's still more falling. We'll see what that total ends up being at the end of the day. But we are going to keep an eye on this wintry part of the storm also, because it's interesting, and you know, we want to make sure that you are really watching the weather as things are going right now. So when we take a look at HRRR, that's usually a pretty good indicator of how things are going to look in the next few hours. This is a higher resolution model, so you get more accuracy. And with this, you still have that heavier snow breaking out in central Illinois up into Chicago. We'll see what happens with Chicago. St. Louis, you're kind of on the line there with some snow, sleet, maybe some freezing rain. Looks like freezing rain there just north of Ohio, into portions of northern Ohio as we head into the next few hours. So this is going to continue to track out. You're going to get a break there. You're going to finally be done with this in just a couple of hours in Kansas City, honestly. But as we head into the rest of the night, into the afternoon, evening, this is around midnight tonight, notice heavy snow really breaking out in Michigan. So Detroit, you're looking at some action. Indianapolis up into Columbus, Ohio, you're kind of on that line. So sleet, maybe some freezing rain, and possibly some snow on the back end of this. So it's really just dependent on where you're at. And then this continues to move to the northeast. And you see some icing happening there in Maine, you know, all the way down to the south and west. Looks like Vermont there. Kind of hard to see. This is into Canada. So that's what we're looking at in the short term. HRRR, it only goes out so many hours, of course, you know, it goes out until tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. And that's because it's a higher resolution. So it takes longer to crunch the numbers. So it's not available, you know, like that for really long term. But it's great because you really get a better idea of what's going to be happening in terms of your totals, your winter weather. Let's take a look at the Ohio Valley again, and let's talk some, let's take a look at some totals. So yeah, so Kansas City, you've been a big winner so far, and you know, they're trying to add a couple more inches or more for you. So just a heads up, central Illinois, 6 inches. 6 inches, you know, even into portions of Michigan, into Indiana, northern Ohio. On the southeast side of this, and this is just through tomorrow morning, see what our freezing rain totals look like. So getting a glaze of ice, some folks seeing a little bit more. Just remember, even a few tenths of an inch of ice on the ground, that is going to cause some pretty big driving issues. So just a heads up there. That's what we're watching for that. And let's take a look at a few different things. We're going to take a look at not upper air, we're going to take a look at surface. Actually, what I do want to take a look at also is precipitation. There we go. Let's see if I can get some precipitation totals. There we go. So I also want to point out that areas like into Kansas, not Kansas, Kentucky, wow, up into Indiana, into portions of Ohio. It's not just snow and ice that we're dealing with. You're also dealing with some heavy rain. So there is the potential for flooding in these areas. I would say it's north of that convection, but kind of south of the heaviest winter weather. So basically, if you're along the Ohio River Valley, you should be watching out for some flooding as well. So that is something to keep in mind. The other thing we're looking at is wind, and we're not putting it in kilometers per hour. We are going to be putting this into miles per hour. So we have wind advisories all over the place, including here. As these storms are moving through, as you deal with that storminess this afternoon, this is around 1 o'clock, we're easily gusting into, 40s, 50s, beyond. Some of these thunderstorms, severe thunderstorms, could have winds gusting upwards of 70 miles an hour. But even north of that, and to the west, notice we're gusting well into the 20s and 30s as the system moves through. So even the winter side of the system is seeing really gusty winds. And any spots that see ice, especially if you get up to 1/4 of an inch, you could be expecting some power outages just because ice and wind on power lines, not a good combo. Also, you get a lot of limbs down, trees down, and that really has an issue with those power lines as well. So notice Middle Tennessee up into Kentucky, we're gusting well into the 40s and 50s. East Tennessee as well. And even behind this system, you'll still see some pretty gusty winds as the front moves through. It's still going to be gusting well into the 20s after that cold front pushes through. And notice that gusty wind, this is tonight, pushes through the Ohio Valley into the northeast. So it doesn't really stop. You're still going to be really windy up into, areas like Pittsburgh, into Pennsylvania, into New York, up into the northeast. We're talking gusts well into the 40s and 50s as this pushes through. So this is just a really powerful system, and it's been pretty interesting to watch. So it looks like that tornado warning we were keeping an eye on has been expired. We do have some really gusty winds. It looks like they've put a severe thunderstorm warning on this, and that goes for another 35 minutes. Lexington, some really gusty winds for you. We're looking at the velocity product, but it's not going to, it's not spinning, but that doesn't mean it's not going to cause some damage. We also have some severe thunderstorm warnings to areas right there on the line. Let's see what's the best radar to look at this. It's always hard to determine whether you're in a radar hole or not, and then suddenly you're trying to find the right radar. Oh, they need to put a radar there. Maybe Little Rock. There we go. Little Rock will pick it up. Let's see. That's kind of weird that this radar, oh goodness. Okay. I can go on and on about radars, but you don't want me to do that. So we have another, well, this is an interesting little polygon. So that one expires in 4 minutes. This is in 19 minutes. This is for winds up to 60 miles an hour. This is around the Clarksdale area. Let's take a quick look at velocity. It looks like just gusty winds, but probably not any spin that I can see. A little bit of a radar hole with that one, so it's kind of difficult. Now, this is what we're looking at in terms of the system at large. I'm going to take you back real quick to the entire big picture, just because it gives you an idea just how big this system is. And we do lose a little bit of that resolution, but you can just see how big this is. Snow from Kansas City, it's ending for Wichita, still going on in Kansas City, up into, and I'm going to put this in play mode so you can actually really see it. St. Louis looks like you're getting some kind of mess of rain, possibly some wintry mix in there. Hopefully more sleet than ice. Chicago, heavy snow. Detroit, you're right on that line of snow and possibly some sleet or ice. Same thing there, Toledo. Indianapolis looks like rain, but you're on the line. Going to be a messy day in Louisville. Nashville, Tennessee, we're not done quite yet. You got severe thunderstorms in Mississippi right now. Mississippi, you need to be the most weather aware right now. Let's see what this is over Memphis. Special weather statement. So that's kind of a step below a severe thunderstorm warning. Anyway, so that's what we're looking at right now. I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye on this live stream. Thank you for watching my first live stream ever. I appreciate it. It was definitely an interesting thing, and I'll hopefully do it again sometime soon. Please stay safe today. The most important thing is that you have those alerts on your phone and have your WIA alerts turned on. That is the wireless emergency alert system. It's through the government. Every single phone has it. And, that's what sends you the Amber Alerts. That's what sends you presidential statements. But it also sends you really valuable information on severe weather. So if there's, a confirmed tornado in your area, you're going to get a WIA alert. And trust me, it saves lives. Make sure you have that system turned on. And, whatever weather app you like to use, please use it. Please stay safe. Watch your local weather people, keep up with your local weather office, weather service office. Your tax money pays for it, so please take advantage of it. It's great. And y'all just have as nice of a day as you can, whether you're dealing with winter weather or whether you are dealing with severe weather. Just stay well and stay safe and stay updated, y'all. Thanks.